so it is the Ori ban, which
Good.
is expected. The Jarvan ban as well. Strange that KaBum banned it again. You could definitely tell that Lep wasn't happy with his Alistar performance in Game 1. That's definitely more of a champion that they fear the power of, yet do not know how to command themselves. So oftentimes with those champs, you just end up banning them away. And KaBum doesn't need to make any big adjustments. It's not like they've had critical failures in any lanes, and they proved that the Aurelia was a big deal in that last one, so he can just fall back onto that pick, no problem.
And the funny thing is, if Maokai comes through here, and they actually had the Morgana ban.
I like that
choice.
I really do.
Yeah.
Trying to throw Dan's off a little bit on Morg. Even though the laning wasn't big for creating team fights, the Black Shields as far as disengaging fights, and more importantly, just catching people in really critical moments during team fights. Whether it be Monterrey running it on Ryze or just catching somebody else like an Elise from a Cocoon is huge.
Well,
and then they deny the Ryze as well. This is really smart by KaBum.
This is cool because I know Tin can play it as well. And this still allows, like, Maokai top lane counterpicked by Aurelia by Lep here. In European Challenger, I see a lot of Aurelia into Maokai as a supposed counterpick. To basically try to outduel him and push him around in the lane.
I see.
I haven't seen it work out, to be fair. Maokai was still winning, but this was old, broken 4-12, 4-13 Maokai. So
where he can keep his ultimate on forever.
Forever, and just, it was, you know, broken. So, you know, maybe that shifts around there, and we might, again, we might see the roll stop, we might see the Aurelia top lane anyway for Lep, and that might all be this fun little song and dance. But right now, PEX has to decide what they actually want to go for. So Fragio could just...
He should do it. He should take
steal the Kha'Zix away.
Yeah, a lot of this match, if they're going to try and mix it up, and especially since PEX kind of define themselves for being able to play anything and not doing comfort picks, would be to man up and do that. You take away the champions that KaBum has been successful on, and you at least make them beat you with something a little bit different. So they're actually kind of sniping each other's champion pools at this point. First pick from KaBum into Ryze, and then you get a Tristan Kha'Zix taken away from PEX.
Okay, so I do think this is a good adaptation for PEX. I think the Ryze pick was still smart, even though you say, hey, you don't have to change what works. I think Ryze has worked for them anyway in the very recent past. So I think that still does make sense for KaBum here. Now, they can solidify their mid laners, or their solo laners, their mid and top. Or they can just play the counter pick game for a little while. Make PEX show some of their solos, and move the Ryze where he needs to be.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about the flex pick. And why wouldn't you go Vi? It was one of his most played during the regionals.
Right. Vi Ori right here. Just make sure you have it.
They would love to. They would love to do Vi Ori, but they can do Vi something else. Vi Yasuo
Ori got banned,
could be something they do. If it's available. Still amazing gank synergy, and they could throw Ryze up into the top lane if they wanted to. No, just controlled pick bans there by KBM.
Yep.
Boom.
Just mirror what your opponents are grabbing.
Yeah.
Make sure you're happy with your lane matchups. Jinx is fine.
The last two picks could be Nasus and Renekton. That way they only have 3 families on their team.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Sisters and brothers.
I don't believe there's been any confirmation. There's been a lot of theories that Vi and Jinx are related.
Well, they're not. I guess they're just both from Piltover.
Yeah.
They're not related. My bad.
Well, I mean, if you believe some circles on the internet, they are.
I'm going to start the rumor right here.
Yeah. Uh-oh. What are you thinking now? Maybe Ryze is secretly like Teemo's brother or something.
Please, God, no.
Kassadin, by the way, though, locked in here for Yuri in the mid lane. Now, of course, Ryze could go top, so you can have the counter pick there for Tenones maybe in the mid, but we're going to see our first Kassadin in a while, I think, of 414. I don't remember seeing it yet.
The big change is obviously when he uses his Rift Walk, he's got to wait 20 seconds to avoid the stacking mana cost penalties. And that really hampers his mobility. Ryze has always actually been a pretty good pick against Kassadin, just to lock him down with the Rune Prison every time he hops in. So a big tanky couple of picks there finished by KaBum to try and make it so the Kassadin can't be effective. It's kind of a last-ditch effort here for Yuri.
Yeah.
Picking Kassadin.
I mean, they banned it in Game 1, which surprised me in the very first place. Like, I'm so surprised people have this priority still on Kassadin, but it seems like PEX still believes in this champion very heavily. They think it's all kinds of crazy. Tristana Thresh bot lane there up against... I think it's actually a pretty good matchup for PEX here. They're up against this Jinx Leona bot lane. 90% melee sort of team here for KaBum.
Gonna have to walk through the box again and again, but KaBum is confident.
Yeah.
They're bringing a lot of reliable initiation, which is the most critical thing. If they have the confidence to pull the trigger and they're able to get leads, which they have been in the first 2 games, bringing a strong engaging comp is pretty key.
And so they're going to pack some disengage. I was like, man, too bad they picked Thresh because John would be great here. Well,
the other ultimate that blows people away.
The other John ultimate, Gragas, comes in here, and he's going to be up in the top lane versus Lep's Aurelia here. Now, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, Monterey played a lot of Gragas previously,
yes,
but that was before the nerfs. It was when his Drunken Rage was free and his sustain was much higher in the lane, and his wave clear was better. So Gragas in the top lane has taken a substantial amount of hits. This is a little bit strange to me that PEX has went with these picks, because even though they've prided themselves on being able to play meta champions, it feels like they're going back to the champions that used to be meta and have been nerfed for the sake of comfort. So at least in that case, they do have some comfort with those picks, but they are not, in my opinion, the strongest champions for this game.
Well, they're going to see if they can make it work for themselves anyway with all the fun things these champions do bring. We're going to see if they can pull this one out and make the long climb back up to the best of 5. Champs are locked in. Head over to Twitter and cast your vote. Send a hashtag KBM win. Or if you think PEX is going to win, send hashtag PEX win. No, just kidding. Hashtag Mantarraya to us at IWC Esports.
How do you spell that?
Mantarraya, and I have no idea how to say those letters in Spanish.
All right, there you go. Let's see how many of those we get for Mantarraya. I can't roll my R's, actually.
Mantarraya.
Yeah.
In all caps. That actually kind of baits me, too. I like have to say all caps names louder.
When they show the vote, you're definitely going to read. The thing is, KaBum's been winning all the votes by, like, really wide margins.
Yes.
A lot of times when we have these interesting hashtags thrown in there, it just really sways the votes in one side.
On fire elephant?
Again.
Oh, no, elephant on fire.
To
be fair.
80 Min the Dream was one we had.
That dream was not realized again, though, unfortunately.
45 minutes. The sadness.
At least they got more than halfway there.
Yeah.
So that counts for something. We are now into Game 3. It could be a decider. In fact, the entire rest of the series will be match point, World Championship trip point here for KaBum from Brazil. They had an incredible road outside of the kind of out of the Brazilian qualifier.
Yeah.
Beating a bunch of favorites on the way, but they made it.
Yeah. For those of you that actually didn't catch the very start of this series, I think it's worth telling this story again, because it's really quite remarkable what has happened over at the Brazilian regional qualifiers, because there was this kind of infusion of big name Brazilian teams bringing in Koreans to try and improve their play.
Right.
So there were 2 big teams that brought in multiple Koreans. One team, K-Stars, brought in 2 Korean players and a Korean coach in MacNoon. And they were the big favorites for most of the tournament. KaBum ran up against them in the semifinals and quickly 2-0'd them. And neither of the teams that had imported the Korean players were in the Brazilian finals, which was kind of this huge rallying call for the guys that were in the finals here. And then KaBum continued their miraculous run. They 3-1'd the finals after losing the first game, and they've just held their momentum throughout this. And they're hoping to get that berth in Worlds.
First South American team, first Brazilian team in the World Championship, and that is kind of the weight of the pressure of their entire country on the shoulders of KaBum right here. PEX, a fairly new team. They all moved down to Uruguay instead of practicing. Yuri and Fragio put the team together.
And it was cold.
Yeah.
They actually sacrificed a lot of practice time to get literal wood to heat their house with fire.
And here we go. So, can PEX pull it all the way back in this best of 5? They've had a lot of glimmers of greatness. They've had these weird fights that go in their favor, these random picks, these really cool moves that most teams wouldn't expect out of them work out.
It's kind of the story of how they even got here in the first place. The LATAM regional finals were against Lion Gaming, who was expected to win. In Game 3, it was a best of 3. They were down 5,000 gold. Even in the laning phases, they were losing the laning phases substantially, and they just kept picking up these kills just again and again when they needed to. And then they got a Lee Sin Baron steal from Fragio, and that kind of turned the game around for them. They rallied, they won Game 3, and that's kind of why they're here. But that's the way they play. They're not the team that dominates you in the laning phase and then just constricts you with pressure and map rotations and outwards you. They're the really scrappy, all-over-the-place team that wants skirmishes and wants to pick up kills in the most unorganized way, it almost seems. And it almost worked for them against KaBum in Game 1. The team comp here with Gragas and Kassadin kind of showed that they want to create that environment for Game 3 here.
Jeez, almost got the flay there on Minerva. Could have had some really good damage out of Bad Milk and Mega JP, but they're going to be forced back here. Mantarraya is winning against KaBum. 1v5, flash in, Bad Milk plays late actually. There's the exhaust onto Minerva, and in comes Frahio. Can they get the damage? There's the stun back in. In comes Vi. Danagorn gets first blood, and suddenly PEX forced to run away from this one.
That gank took so long to develop. It was nice that they were able to go in for the flash flay, but that needs to happen the instant the Kha'Zix approaches for the gank. It happened a good 5 or 10 seconds before Kha'Zix could be involved. Danagorn beat them to the punch. He had a nice flash vault breaker, and it turns the first blood around.
So beautiful stuff. KaBum already off to a great start. 800 gold up. Now you're seeing Yuri smartly playing very far back. He's got to be afraid of this Ryze Vi combo, though. The top lane, Gragas Aurelia in a battle. Let force one away. Body slam flashed away from. And this is Aurelia losing a lot of health. Another barrel's going to land. And the Manta Ray doing well. Good hook. Stops Dan's.
Pretty low on mana, just sitting on that Doran's ring, whereas the Flask is part of Lep's inventory right there. Although, I believe he's burned through all of his stacks. He just has that nice natural lifesteal from his W. 7 health per hit.
Last of his potions there as well. Dan's and Mega JP in battle.
Don't feel like that trade was worth it.
He's going to try anyway, though. Well, Dan's thing is Dan's needs to recall. So he's like trying to burn as much health down, and it like just doesn't matter. He's going to stay anyway, huh?
He's not going to go back. He's got double Thorns and a health
recall,
potion, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tristan's fine.
Yeah.
Weird. Minerva going for the same build, a double longsword on him. Here's the attempt there. There's a Vi, though. A lot of damage. Frahio forced away.
Danagorn is one step ahead of Frahio this game. And in games 1 and 2, it was actually Bad Milk roaming to create first blood and still not being able to come out with the victory. So the fact that they've lost control of this game, even before that can happen, is a pretty bad sign if PEX wants to extend this series.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Now we're closer to a 1,000 gold lead as the minion waves just die in the top lane. No gold or experience grabbed by Manta Rashita.
Whoa, triple Dorans. He really needs to be able to win this lane after going that build.
Yeah, he's going to have a good lead off of this one.
It makes sense with the new Gragas, though, to make him work here.
Yeah, more mana.
Yeah, he really struggles with mana and wave clear to keep up with that.
A lot of CC. Good play even still, but Bad Milk at 100 health. The shield's not going to be enough. Kill picked up by Minerva. He's got to run away from Mega JP. The rocket jump comes in late, though. Barrier comes in. 2 hits from the kill, but the stun comes out from Leona, and it's not going to be enough damage. Now Frahio comes in mid lane, but Danagorn already there to stop him. Nothing picked up.
It seemed like Minerva switched to rockets there to temporarily outrange the Tristan, save those last few hits. So if that actually worked the way he wanted it to, that was one hell of a mechanical play there by Minerva and Dan's. 2v2 double kill, just making it go from bad to worse for PEX.
And the top lane's also getting pretty rough. Lep jumps in, dodges a barrel from Mantarraya, and does even more damage. Now the Dragon going as well. Already a 2,000 gold lead, negative 3,000 gold lead. KaBum are playing their best game of the series so far.
And it's exactly at the right time. The longer they're here, the more confidence they are gaining. You could see the nerves from KaBum in Game 1 and how long it took them to close out. But when they're able to win that game after making so many mistakes, what that did for their confidence has just carried all the way through the series into this Game 3.
And now every single lane is winning or dominating there. Lep up a little bit.
Yeah.
Crushing bottom.
I actually want you to walk me through this one.
Yeah.
For the 80 pair mechanics right here.
Nice. That's a really good one. That's a sick play, though.
Yeah, then he flashes in for the stun.
Yeah, so this is all fine.
But what happens here at the end with Minerva?
So Mega should have jumped by now.
Easily. But he's late, so he doesn't get the damage.
Okay, good barrier. He stops on the barrier. That's smart. And Minerva's like, I need to back away. He's actually not really kiting anything.
Right.
The stun stopped all the auto attacks. Minerva was just kind of maximizing DPS, knowing that Triss has no crit, Triss already jumped, Triss has no playmaking summoners left, and saying, I can survive this, I can survive this. I'll back up
potentially now. Because the last hit was going to be what matters, he switched for the rockets for more damage, thinking he wouldn't get multiple minigun attacks in, maybe?
I'm not sure on that one necessarily. So you do keep the attack speed in your very first rocket shot.
Okay.
And so your theoretical best DPS is rocketing for your last hit. I don't know about the switch specifically. I think he was also saying I need to be able to run away if I realize I'm actually lower than I should be.
Either way.
And then he was at max range and he got the walk out of wrist range. But Hassen and Rome comes in. Lep's got to be careful. Nice jump away, but I think he's got nowhere to go, really. Jumps back in. Oh my gosh, no. Not going to be enough. Good roam by Yuri to get one on the board for PEX.
That's what he needs to be able to do on Kasten to try and crawl back into this game. Even after that gank, it's still a 3,000 gold deficit. And Tinones will continue to farm. Look at this bottom lane getting out of hand. We're doing that Ghostblade Minerva build again. Not even bothering with the BF sword this time.
Interesting.
It's going straight for the Ghostblade.
Why not?
And now blue steel.
Seems mostly based on recall timings. Dan's pulled in. There's the blue. Up goes to Danagorns. Wants to just make sure he gets it. Doesn't give it over to Tinones just yet. I think he already got his own blue, so who cares? And bottom lane turret nearly dead. I don't see many teams pushing to the turret so heavily off of a lane lead, but outer turret's already almost falling. This is a whole bunch of damage. Mega JP can get onto the lantern in time.
Yeah, a lot burned there without accounting for the lantern. So a little bit of overaggression, but they are so far ahead.
Danagorn does have flash. Played back in, though. Good hook as well. And Bad Milk gets a second one on the board. Bot turret does go down.
PEX wants to create as much chaos as possible.
Yep.
So the more things that happen like that, the better it is for PEX. Getting another kill on the Frahio is also very good. He needs to be able to control this map. He's evolved his W for a little bit of extra wave clear and poke, but no jumping resets. I'd say that's better in this case because he's very unlikely to actually get resets when they're down so much gold, and instead needs to focus on the first kill.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Suddenly dances here. Every single time Frahio ganks, someone's there to stop him. Has to throw the spikes out, force the team away. Oh! Minerva! Minerves of Steel takes down the cross-map rocket, and this could be a turret kill.
That really sucks for PEX right there because the big minion wave is there as well, and there is just pitiful wave clear there in the mid lane. That is turret number 2.
All right, quick game. Oh my gosh, the stun comes in as well. Frahio forced away. And right now, KaBum are playing the most aggressive game in the series.
And that is just indicative of their comfort level. Nearly 5,000 gold, 10.5 minutes, and now they're trying to rotate up to punish everyone. They put some deep wards in to try and ward against the counter ganks. That's 4 strong people up in that top lane. Let's see if PEX can counter it. This is kind of the chaos they would want, but they just do not seem to have the firepower to stop it.
Yuri's not around just yet. Frahio's going to take down a couple of the golems. Mantaraya's around, but the ward's going to spot everything here. They know it's a 4v3. PEX has to back off of this one. 3 out of turrets down by 11 minutes here for KaBum.
So soon for losing these turrets. And the Ghostblade Trist looking pretty strong right now. Aurelia as well outforming Mantaraya. Despite all the hashtag support, it's looking bad for PEX.
I actually like this change. I'm thinking about why it might be they're killing turrets much faster than normal. I think it's the Kassadin. They're basically removing all the options for Yuri to sit back and get the farm. There's just, like, Kassadin sucks at wave clear, especially early game. You're just like, no one can deal with this right now.
It's also the strength of bottom lane just leaking to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
The 2v2 double kill and the turret, where are they going to go next? They haven't had to spend time in the bottom lane. It's been Minerva who's been the participant in all 3 turret kills. So it's Leon and Jinx kind of leading the way up and down the map, and then them not having the wave clear or the map pressure to match.
Exactly. Not to mention all 4 champion kills as well. Tinones going to walk into the enemy team. Badmilk going to root him in place for a little while, but by the way, Solar Flare, another rocket. Minerva keeping the 100% kill participation. Mega JP now is in a pretty bad spot. One more hit, and Danagorn claims another kill. Now 6-2, 12 minutes in.
Yeah, the snowball is turning into an avalanche right now because just KaBum is absolutely everywhere. A 4-0-2 Jinx at the moment, happily participating in all these kills. But everyone else is just freely piling on. There's so much confidence right now with this. I mean, just think about this. They're going for Trist, but he sees Badmilk on the way. They think, why don't we just go for 2? Badmilk is the guy I'm in range in. I'm just going to start spamming. They throw their ultimates out just for the support, knowing Danagorn has the flank, a free flash over the wall because they have no fear of anyone else on the map coming to counter that, and they just continue to pick up kills.
Yeah, there's just no chance for Yuri to roam around the map and make the plays you expect Kassadin to. Just being there is sometimes enough for the champion. Not happening right here. Massive lead, 6,500 gold for KaBum at 13 minutes. Gigantic advantage here.
Yeah, another dragon coming too.
Yep, that's going to be more gold going KaBum's way. This is the KaBum I think the Brazilian fans expected to see in the first place. And this is a KaBum that could theoretically do well at Worlds. It's hard to tell how much of this is KaBum playing better and how much of this being sort of PEX shattered.
I mean, some of this comes down to best-of-5 psychology here. KaBum has played in best-of-5s before. PEX qualified in that best-of-3, and if you lose the first 2 games, a lot of times you're just mentally destroyed. It's very hard to try and come back in that. Plus, you get to see the demolition of a team throughout 3 games. Strategically, you don't want to get beaten by the same thing again and again. So a lot of times when you pivot or try and come up with a new strategy, it's just way worse than your first strategy.
True.
And you end up losing by a substantially larger margin.
And that's always the thing to look at, right? Is I've seen all the comments on teams where it's like, oh, you know, why not change your team comp? Why not ban everything away? And it's like, well, sometimes the first ban phase you had was the right one. Sometimes you had to get rid of that Vi every single time. By the way, Danagorn's Vi is pretty good. You know, sometimes you had to grab that Rise early every single time because look how good Tin is at that champion. Like, sometimes it's how the game works. Is yeah, Plan B is never going to be as good as Plan A, and if Plan A doesn't work, you're out of luck.
Yeah, how many plans can you really come up with? Because you don't go into a series thinking, all right, what if we lose the first 2 games? Let's have that ace in the hole. No, if you're an underdog coming into a series, you use your stuff right away.
Yeah.
And that's what PEX ended up doing. Monterrey not having fun here.
A lot of damage comes through, and that is Danagorn getting another kill. 3-1-0, finally breaking Minerva of his perfect kill participation this game.
There is a reason the Danagorn's junglers during the qualifiers were Jarvan and Vi. He is looking really strong on Vi.
But maybe they can take down Tin. A nice box, a nice play. That is 1 for 0 so far.
Good exhaust. He's ISO'd.
Being chased down by Fragio. Can he make the kill happen? Looks like Rocket Jump says yes. And that is 2 kills for nothing in the mid lane.
Yeah, and KaBum was overexposed, overstretched right there, just trying to take the top turret while sieging the mid lane a little bit more than they could chew. Their gold lead is still substantial, however, and I think that is a minor setback in the greater context of things. Still a nice move there by PEX to try and pick up a few kills.
They got a little something there. Mega JP just going to walk through. That's a pink ward he missed. We'll live another day.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. They have 2 people up top lane, so it is a 4v3 that they're engaging in underneath the turret, so they can't actually engage onto the back line. They're completely defensive there. Dan's the Leona ends up way too far back. He needed to somehow end up next to Minerva so he could stop the isolation and stun the people hitting him. Instead, though, PEX makes a nice little collapse, but what's that going to do? Mega JP has an Abyss Blade right now, and there is nearly an Infinity Edge and a Ghost Blade onto Minerva.
Oh dear. That is a significant lead right there.
He's sitting on 2,500 gold.
Okay, so...
Just to go back shortly.
Shiv cost them 1,300 from where he's at. So he's got like the pickaxe afterwards.
Yep, that's going to be what he gets, unless he decides to go boots. No, pickaxe.
The Fury's got boots. 1, or are you saying boots 2?
Like a boots 2, yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I haven't seen guys go boots 2 in a while. Like, it seems to be a really late pickup for a lot of AD carries. Usually like 3rd item. Which is alright. It's fine. It's just, it's all about power spikes anyway in the first place. KaBum, though, still playing aggressively despite that 1 bad fight. Bot lane tier 2 under fire. Great damage coming out from the Jinx right now. Minigun doing nice. A little bit of wave through there from PEX, and the turret stays alive, but losing health pretty quickly every single wave.
And it's 4 turrets to 0. This is, while KaBum has given up a few kills here and there, the style they're playing is indicative of a quick game. PEX trying to flank. They might get a nice Crag Assault. It depends on the peel.
Danagorn pushes back Monterrey. They get up 2 back in, though, and wow, they picked up Minerva. PEX going for everything they can right now. Tin takes damage. 1 for 1 so far. The re-engage from Danagorn. He will fall down. Mega JP in the wings.
He's live!
Walk away after the Rise kill. 3 for 1. The chase, the hook on the dance, the box as well. Lep going to be the only man alive in a second as Yuri gets out as well. This is going to be an ace for 1 kill for PEX unless Lep gets 1. And then tries to walk away. Can't be more than that, though. 5 for 2 to PEX, though.
Wow, I mean, that's the PEX play. Wide left, unfortunately. They somehow win fights when you don't expect them to, potentially based on the other team's overconfidence. And here Minerva's at half health. And
oh no.
I don't know how that happens, but it does. He just plays with the pixels and somehow pulls the AD carry. That's the start of this one, meaning the sustained damage gets focused out right away. Rise is pretty much out of that fight as well. Mega JP makes a lucky little hop back over the other side to stay alive. And then
the Rise kill.
They didn't want to run from the Cassidon for too long here. and they end up sticking around. Still, just to show you how far behind they really were, after a 5-kill ace, 5,000 gold back.
Yep. And they still can't even get the minion waves past the river right now. Still no turrets, still no dragons. PEX have a long road ahead, and you're seeing what objectives can mean for the team. Like, you look at these lanes, the CS is all pretty close, right? It's within 5 or 10, no big deal there. But when you have every dragon and 4 turrets,
right,
there's the lead.
This is one of those games where the CS is only even because KaBum has left lanes to create objectives, which wasn't necessarily true in the first 2 games. However, you know, that ace that KaBum just suffered will probably curb their aggression substantially.
Yeah. The problem is, though,
their team is all in.
Yeah. And that's kind of hard to do against Kassadin. If you don't have good ways of turning back around against him, the map also spreads out a little bit. If they can start wave clearing you and stopping your all-in pushes, right? The last...
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
This is the knockback left, though, but he is fairly tanky to get the damage anyway. Rocket comes and grabs Mantarraya, though. 1-for-1 as the top laners go down. MegaJP does get caught. 2-for-1 so far. The chase for Danagorn. Slow's going to land into Frahio. He's going to be going down really quickly. Does not have flash. There's the Rune Prison. 3-for-1 to KaBum. And now Bad Milk does not get the play. Doesn't get the slow. He's out.
You got to say Mantarraya really overreached right there. They're still at a substantial deficit, and even if they had a person somewhat isolated, the rest of the team is really close.
Yeah.
So flashing in for that Gragas ultimate, not ideal. If they could have gotten the Thresh Hook, it would have been a nice ult afterwards, but then they just pressed a little bit too far. And then just to farm that lane, they're putting themselves at a pretty big risk.
Uh-oh, jumps onto the Lantern, he'll be fine.
Nice.
All right.
Nice move.
They stay safe a little bit, but yeah, the thing is, because the gold's so far down, you can see it in terms of power spikes. They just couldn't kill the Irelia when they pulled her.
Yeah.
Not quickly enough.
So right here you can see, oh man, he overstayed for the pink ward. Let's get him. As soon as he dodged that, it's over. PEX, go back, go home. Mantarraya flashed in, and you can see KaBum was actually waiting for the turn right there. So much damage gets turned around by just the Irelia and the Jinx Rocket. The fight is lost. The 80 carry gets caught afterwards. Yuri doesn't have sustained damage on Kassadin, so they needed the Gragas and the Triss to have a chance in this fight, and they just get completely chased down.
And it was such a perfect Gragas ult, too. Brought in the single target you cared about, knocked the entire enemy team away to buy time. Yeah. But 5,000 gold lead means the Jinx Rocket plus Irelia damage kills the Gragas and trades it. Gets Jinx excited, gets the team to chase him.
Ghost, though.
Tinones, ooh, knocked away the MegaJP. He's going to rocket jump over. 3, 4, and 3.
Pretty low cooldown on Ghost.
Yeah, and most Rises run 21 utility, so shortened even further from there. 189.
Yeah, it's only got, it is 189. And he's got 160 seconds left on that guy, so about 2 minutes and 40 seconds from now, do that same song and dance again.
Tristol's shorter cooldown, though, so not exactly a song that Tin wants to hear again.
Yeah, it's true.
Get off top 40 radio. Danagorn is going to start the aggressive ward coverage game, though. He clears away a pink ward defensively from PEX. And let's see. So KaBum hasn't really succeeded on the pushes, interestingly enough. No. They've really been slowed down. So I want to see, in the face of adversity, what's next for them.
To continue to go in, but just not do it right in front of turrets. You can see how PEX is getting more aggressive right now because they've gotten a few kills. I don't know if that's the right call.
Minerva takes a lot of damage. There's the barrel. 1 hit from Dead. First kill picked up, but they trade 80 carries. There's the find to the back line, getting some knockback as well. Frahio is going to actually get the kill and get out, but Bad Milk's caught. It's a 2 for 2. Here comes Left, forcing everyone away. The Spines going to stop the chase. Just the 2 for 2.
They keep catching Minerva, and the Jinx cannot protect herself. They don't actually have good Jinx peel. Jinx works in this context if KaBum can find the fights for them, but if PEX finds the fights, it's actually been somewhat even. That one, though, was a 5v4 at the beginning because Minerva was in a bad spot, and they can counter push because of all the health they have left after that fight.
Yeah, it looks like Lep is going to be enough turret damage to take that one down, and turret number 5 now comes in for KaBum. Mikhail's Crucible will be done soon for Dans. That should help Minerva a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, check this out. Minerva was just trying to move through.
Oh, he sees.
Oh, man. There was a ward there. He, of course, didn't see the ward. So that was his perspective right there. dead before the fight happens, but then just because Danagorn followed Fryo so far back, he gets him pretty low. He's able to escape. Really a very close fight, despite a great initiation by PEX.
And I just want to point out that the Kassadin pick, 3, 1, and 8. The obvious big point of power here for PEX, 90+% kill participation, 11 of the 12. Clearly it does still work, and you're seeing basically, it's like that's the PEX style, right? Is this weird X factor. Just things happen. Kassadin is kind of like the king of things happen. Jump over wall, slow you for 90%. Gragan shows up.
If there is somebody to chase down, probably want Kassadin to do the job.
Yep.
He'll catch him for you. The question will be, though, whether he can do enough damage later in the game and whether he can continue to chase without getting collapsed on. But speaking of chasing people down,
they are really trying for left right now. The team not there to defend just yet. They saw plenty of people bot lane.
That's both the Kha'Zix ultimate and what would be a big chunk of Yuri's mana if the fight were to happen quickly afterwards. But it's also a big tell on where they're investing their map pressure. And KaBum doing a good job to steal a blue buff and try and push this 5th, 6th turret of the game.
That should be dying very quickly. Even wait to get the blue buff over to Tin Owns, and down goes the 6th turret of the game. KaBum 6-0 on turrets and perfect on dragons.
Yeah, as many times as they get pushed back, their objective control is exquisite, and it's just so much mounting goal for their team. You can only land so many hooks and get so many casting kills if you cannot protect your own buildings.
Yuri's still trying, though. Zap's going to hit Manta. Nothing else quite grabbed, though. 9,000 gold game. We've been around that mark for some time now. But KaBum, I mean, 25% gold lead here is a significant margin when you're that much above your opponent. And they have been finding those sort of split push victories. Like mid lane turret went down not long ago. The bot lane off of the attempted sort of dive from PEX. And now I feel like the easy step is for KaBum to play together and play the Baron control game. And just knock at Kassadin.
They just ward around a little bit, wait for someone to check, lead with the Leona ult, and charge. Is basically KaBum's strategy from here on out. And you can see them going to set that up right now with sweepers and pink wards. A couple pink wards in inventory is going to try and set things up, and they're already starting to black out that spot. With a pink ward inside, they know there's no immediate vision. It's just a matter if they got seen coming by. And it could be down to a Baron steal, but that Baron is going rather quick. PEX needs to find out.
There's hook on the Dan's. TP comes in. They go right in onto Frahio, and he's gonna die first. Baron's still on the map, though, but that rocket's gonna claim another kill. That is 3 picked up so far. KaBum win that battle handedly. Now Danagorn gonna grab the easy Baron pickup. That is a 3 for 0 plus a Baron for KaBum.
Wow. Minerva couldn't even hop over the wall, so he was just trying to assist with his zap and his ultimate. Baron nearly killed him. That's how strong KaBum is when they decide to fight right there. Do not even need the 80 carries auto attacks. They get the Baron and they regain control.
Yep, they got the rocket for a couple of kills. 7, 3, and 5 from that Jinx, despite being caught out a few times here. Doing plenty well for himself. Highest kill participation as well, 12 for the 80 carry Minerva there. The caster Jinx working so far. There's a jump on in. You can see, I mean, kill the jungler first.
You can see the ultimate over the wall as well, landing on a lot of them. Leona's able to make it over. It's just the Rise landed so much AoE in there, and all of the spells from Jinx actually landed pretty nicely. It was as clean a fight as they have got this entire game. And it really just showed you with their gold lead and their damage output how lethal they can be if they do not get caught off guard by PEX.
And now I think they can finally play as Siege and have it work. They've picked up some more items. They have actually changed up some of their...
They want to stop this dragon from going down as well.
Oh my gosh, Danagorn's going to try. Ulti comes out, spots him. Smite battle. PEX not even going to try here.
If they lost that fight, the game would be over and their chances of World Championship would be completely gone. It may be already over, though.
It might be slow onto Frahio. Can he get away? Dan's is still around. There's the Eclipse, there's the W. He doesn't quite land it, but Danagorn, as he presses R, and that could be bad for Kha'Zix. 1 for 0, Tenones gets the kill. Is this the game-winning push? Here comes left.
Wrong way for Rise!
And Mandaraya goes down. Bad Milk's gonna sour as well. 3 for 0 one more time. Left goes in for Mega JP. Minerva gets that kill. Only Yuri's alive, gets away from the zap, but only one person stands in the way of KaBum. punching their ticket to the World Championship.
They don't even have minions for that inhibitor turret, but they're going to be able to take that one down. It's only 28 minutes left, so I don't think they can end it on this push, but they have all but secured their trip to the World Championship. 18,000 gold lead, 28 minutes in, and 7 turrets to none.
I don't know how you actually keep yourself from pushing the Nexus right there, because you're like, oh my gosh, we're about to go to Worlds. Oh my gosh, we can't close it out yet?
They seem pretty in control
right now.
I mean, look at their faces right now. They are laser focused on what they need to accomplish right here.
That's impressive.
Keep in mind, they have been playing a lot of competitive games over in Brazil, and the stage for their regionals was rather epic, so they have regained themselves. This last fight was just about charging right at them. Dan's tries to land as many spells as they can, but one initiation after another. Assaulted Battery into Tinones. Lep is trying to flank around the other side, and PEX can do nothing but run away. Monterrey tried to peel, but he only led to his own team's demise by making Tinones even closer of a threat. Lep continues to chase in. Minerva still had his flash, and it was just a massacre right there.
It absolutely was. 17,000 gold lead before 30 minutes in. I mean, KaBum have just been incredible this game right here. They're starting to tank up as well, so they can dive some turrets. Randuin's Omen done for Dana Gordon. Lep has a Frozen Heart. Pushing this game likely not difficult now for KaBum. And they go mid lane with bottom inhibitor already dead.
And they have the initiation, that's for sure. Just a matter of whether or not they can risk getting isolated by a Gragas ultimate. They kind of want Aurelia with them here, but they're trying to set up a split push, slow and steady, respecting the AP Gragas wave clear at the moment. Lep kind of, you can see him jumping up and down a little bit in his chair, just wanting to get the fight that'll win them here. Winning the final game without giving up a single turret really speaks to domination here in this international wildcard.
Well, here's the attempt. Got a lot of damage coming down from the Jinx, and down goes Kha'Zix, 1 for 2.
Here it is.
The dive in, they picked up 2 so far. KaBum inside the base. They're gonna find Mantarraya. He's gonna be going down. And now on to the Nexus turrets. There's number 1, there's number 2. It's gonna be a 3-0, and KaBum eSports from Brazil are going to the World Championship.
Congratulations to KaBum. They made it all the way from Brazil. They took the long trip here to PAX, and they destroyed this best of 5. 3-0, with the last game being the most dominant.
0 turrets given up, 0 dragons given up, 0 barons given up. Double the kills of the enemy team. Honestly, a dominating performance from start to finish.
Yeah. Game 1, little shaky.
Almost an hour long.
Game 2 started a little bit shaky and then ended strong. Game 3, they jumped out of the gates. Huge gold lead, 5,000 gold plus by 10 minutes. 10 turrets to 0 by the end of this one. If not for the scrappiness of PEX, it would have been over much sooner. But 31 minutes, a lot of diving there from KaBum. And they're going to Worlds.
They are going to Worlds. We'll see what group they're in about a week and a half.
Now the team, both international wildcard teams, decided now Dark Passage won at GamesCom.
These guys are still happy.
Oh, of course
they're going to Worlds. That's pretty amazing. And I think the cool thing as well, though, is I expect PEX to be rooting for them in the World Championship. Yes, they took your spot away. Yes, they beat you in the series, but I feel like you still got to root for your region in a way. Yeah. One of the other South American teams say, you know what? You guys beat us, but carry the standard. Let's see how far you guys go. Yeah,
PEX looked a little disheveled after that one. Obviously, they came all the way here. They're wanting to represent LATAM, but they still made it pretty damn close, you know? And there's plenty